Alright guys, this is your third video lesson, but this is the first one that you're doing all on your own, hopefully at home, possibly in class if you're a little bit ahead or a little bit behind. We're going to be talking about exponent powers. Remember, if you are kind of getting lost, pause the video, maybe rewind it a little bit, and watch it again. Or watch it once, and then go through and watch it a second time trying to fill out your note guide. You kind of have to get into whatever routine works for you. So what we're going to be doing first is we are going to raise a power to a power. So if you look down at the example here, I have x to the third squared. So I have like this double exponent thing going on. What you're going to do when you have that is you are going to multiply the exponents together. That seems easy enough. So if you look here, since I have a power to a power, the way I kind of think about it sometimes is that a parentheses means to multiply in a lot of ways. And so it's not addition like we did yesterday. Because of the parenthesis there, it's going to mean multiplication. So 2 times 3 is x to the 6th. Here, because I have this parenthesis, that means I'm going to multiply. So I'm going to keep my base, 3. And then I'm going to multiply negative 3 times negative 4, which is positive 12. That's it. Okay? I'm going to do just one more, just in case, since this is the first time you're doing it by yourself. Since I have my base, I'm going to write the base. And my exponents, they're basically touching each other. So it means I'm going to multiply them. 2 times 4 is 8. Now I want you to go ahead and try the next 3 all by yourself. I will do the problems and write down the answers, and you can check your work. Okay, so if you look, number 2, I got b to the 6th power. Keep your base, multiply your exponents. Question number 3, I got r to the negative 6, but remember I can't leave it as a negative. Don't leave it as a negative. It has to be rewritten as 1 over r to the 6th. And then the last one, 3 times 2, is c to the 6th. Okay, now we're going to look at the slightly more complicated but not more difficult, raising a product to a power. Now I'm going to use the word distribute, and I'm kind of going to use it in the wrong way, but you will understand it when I say it this way, so we'll make it work. So what you're going to do when you have a product means some sort of multiplication problem, so we'll say 2x squared, but you're raising all of that to a power. So this is the kind of problem I'm looking at. You can look down at the examples. What you're going to do is you're going to distribute the exponent to each factor inside the parentheses. So in this thing that I just wrote here, I'm going to put this exponent of 3 on the 2. And I'm going to put the exponent of 3 here with the exponent that's already there. So remember, when you distribute the exponent to another exponent, what you're going to have to do is multiply those two exponents together. So this example that I just kind of started up here is 2 to the 3rd power and x to the 6th power. Okay, so now let's look at my example that I had previously written. I have to erase my word multiply a little. Since this 3 is outside the parentheses, it's going to be distributed to all of the exponents, all of the factors inside. So this is going to become 3 to the 3rd power times a to the now 6th power. I'm going to multiply those two together because they're on the same level. Here I'm going to distribute a negative 2. So I'm going to have 4 to the negative 2 and a to the negative 6. Now it just so happens that the 4 feels quite badly about being where he's at, so he's going to have to go to the denominator, 4 to the 2nd. That's a 2nd. And the a also feels bad about being on top, so I'm going to put him on the bottom, a to the 6th, and a 1 will have to go on the top. Okay, I'm going to do just a couple more of these because I know they're new. They might feel weird, but they're really pretty easy. So I'm going to distribute the 3, the exponent of 3, which will give me base 3 to power 3 and x to the 6th. Distribute this negative 2, and I'll get y to the negative 4, x to the negative 6. Again, they're both negative, so they don't like where they're at. They have negative feelings, so they have to be dropped down, both of them. So this is going to become 1 over y to the 4th, x to the 6th. Looking at the next one, I'm distributing this exponent of 5. It's going to tap the 2, it's going to tap the y, and it's going to tap the x squared. So I'm going to write 2 to the 5th, then I'll write y to the 5th, and I'll write x to the 2 times 5, which is 10. Distribute this 2 here, so it's going to have to touch the 2. It's going to have to touch the m squared and the n to the negative 3. So I'll have 2 to the 2nd power, m to the second, 2 times 2, m to the 4th, and n to the negative 3 to the 2nd, so n to the negative 6. And since the n feels negative about where he's at, we're going to drop him down to the denominator. So I'm going to write 2 squared m to the 4th over n to the 6th. Once you change his position, he feels much better about where he's at. Okay, go ahead and try the next 3 by yourself. Go ahead, pause the video. I'm going to work them out for you, and then I'll try to explain them after you see the answers, and you can hopefully fix any mistakes that you have. If you totally don't understand an example, I should still see it worked out, and you should be able to explain to me what you tried, and if that doesn't work, as far as the answer is not right, then I can hopefully help you in class. All right, on the next 3, you'll notice that I first distributed the exponent of 2, so I wrote 2 to the 2nd, and then 3 times 2 is x to the 6th. Here I distributed the 3, so I wrote x to the 6th right underneath, 2 to the 3rd power, and x to the 6th power, because I multiplied those together. But then what I noticed was I had like bases. So I could combine my x's together by adding the exponents. So I kept my 2 to the 3rd, and then I wrote x to the 12th. Now we're getting to the point where when you write a kind of simple exponent like 2 to the 3rd, go ahead and change that to the integer. So 2 to the 3rd power means 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, x to the 12th. And then here on the last one, okay, so I'm going to bring the 2 to each of the parts, this negative 2 to each of the parts. So my first line I wrote down was 3 squared, x to the 4th, x to the negative 2, y to the negative 6. I brought down my 3 squared, but I went ahead and changed it to 9. I combined my like terms, x to the 4th and x to the negative 2, to get x squared. And then my y, he felt negative about being in the numerator, so I know I'm going to have to move him down. So that's how I got my final answer of 9x squared over y to the 6th. Okay, I want you to go ahead and take the lesson check quiz. You should do this before you come into class. And then when you get into class, you can either go back and show me your score, or I will definitely be looking it up. And then in class, you're going to start on the assignment and ask me any questions that you have as you're working through that. Make sure you turn in the assignment